I'd like to thank our reader, Marta Keller, for the wonderful reading, and it was great to see her on video, isn't it? And by the way, the whole Self-Reliance essay is available from our website this week. Perhaps the excerpts piqued your interest a little bit. Thanks also to our CSL music team and Chariot Duo for our beautiful music today. So today we're continuing our series on life, love, and the pursuit of happiness according to the boy, the mole, the fox, the horse. And today we're looking at self-discovery. This is only week 2 of our journey. So like the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse, allow yourself time to discover who you are and what has meaning to you, where your home lies. Each week is independent, and you can walk away each week with some tools so that you can delve deeper into understanding your life and what brings you joy. And as we continue on our journey, this wonderful 2023 spiritual journey, our title for this week, Self-Discovery. So here's your question for the week. What is the one choice you might make today to discover who you are by embracing your passions and your values, by asking your friends to help you along your journey, and by remembering to bring to this world things no one else can bring? One more time. What's the one choice you might make today to discover who you are by embracing your passions and your values, asking your friends to help you along your journey, and remembering you bring to this world things no one else can? You might be saying to yourself that we just talked about search for meaning. So what are we doing here this week talking about self-discovery? Well, you're right that there seems to be a fine line between the two. And what I know about self-discovery is that it's a lifelong journey of exploration through the inner self. I see the search for meaning to be far more broad than self-discovery. For me, self-discovery has meant trying to discover who I am, what my purpose is in life, what I have to offer in service, and what core principles are guiding me to take different paths along my journey. This involves looking at my purpose, also looking at what I'm passionate about, as well as my priorities in life. What matters to me? What are my values? What do I believe? Be it the truth or not. You know, the dictionary defines self-discovery as the process of acquiring insight into one's own character. And this involves really, truly understanding your true self, your values, your needs, your wants, even those things that might seem mundane, like what food you like or which foods you dislike. In The Anatomy of Healing Prayer, Ernest Holmes wrote this: "The search of every man is the discovery of himself. He doesn't know it. The search of every man is something that will make him whole." As the boy searches first for the river and then for home, the mole encourages him to look from a higher perspective. And sometimes, when we look from a different angle, we still need time to see things better.
But I can't see a river.
Perhaps you could see one from that branch. Ooh. What can you see?
Nothing really.
Oh.
You You might notice that the mole was quite accepting and just let the boy's vision be what it was. After all, it's the boy's journey. In Words That Heal Today, Ernest Holmes wrote, "Divine love and infinite wisdom could not create us as spontaneous individuals without letting us alone to discover ourselves. In the process of self-discovery, we misuse the law of cause and effect. It is through these mistakes that we learn how to use the law of life rightly." So here we are on our journey, and what I know is true for me is that the mistakes I made along the way to self-discovery most certainly were learning devices for me. So today we're going to look at how these four unlikely friends, the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse, help the boy discover who he is and what is important to him, and help him learn from his mistakes along the way. Let's remember, the boy is on a journey to home, following the river.
Look! Lights! That looks like a home.
Yes, it does, doesn't it?
So off they go on their journey to find the lights. And as you will see over the next few weeks, the journey is filled with ups and downs, with companionship as well as storms. And the four of them help each other discover what is truly important in each of their lives. One of the things that I've noticed about myself is that sometimes my friends have great insights that help me learn more about who I am. And when the boy is discouraged and thinking he can't do it, or that he has such a long way to go, once again, his companions encourage him.
Oh no! Where are the lights? I can't see them anymore. It feels like we have such a long way to go.
I know. But look how far we've come.
I just don't think I can do this. I'm never going to find a home.
I know that I find it difficult many times when I'm feeling discouraged to see how far I've come. And it helps to have friends remind us of that, does it not? I think we all too often fail to acknowledge how far we've come along our road to self-discovery and how much we've already learned. As a society in general, we're far better at seeing where we failed or how much still needs to be done than we are at celebrating our successes.
You know, sometimes your mind plays tricks on you. It can tell you you're no good, that it's all hopeless. But I've discovered this. You are loved and important, and you bring to this world things that no one else can. So hold on.
How wise is it of the fox to remind us that we're loved and important, and we bring to this world things no one else can. Florence Scovel Shinn, in The Game of Life and How to Play It, reminds us not to waste time comparing ourselves. There is for each man perfect self-expression. There is a place which he is to fill, and no one else can fill. Something which he is to do, which no one else can do. It is his destiny. Part of our own self-discovery, as it is for the boy, is determine what our gift is to give the world, why we are here. As the boy and the mole spend time together, the boy is inquisitive about what the mole knows.
Do you have a favorite saying?
Yes.
What is it?
If at first you don't succeed, have some cake.
I see. Does it work?
Every time.
And of course, because the mole values cake, his advice would involve cake. If at first you don't succeed, what might be your joyful thing that would help you to get out of the doldrums of what might appear to be a failure? What might help you to remember how far you've come? I do believe that the mole's advice is wise, because sometimes on our road to self-discovery, we get stymied or stumped, and it helps us to pause and just take a little bit of time to enjoy life. And the boy asked some very good questions as exploring his life on his road home. The mole gave some even greater advice. So when the boy asked, "What do you think is the biggest waste of time?" "Comparing yourself to others," said the mole. Wow. I sure wish someone had told me that when I was the boy's age. I know I spent a lot of my lifetime comparing myself to others, and I can honestly say it never helped. I just didn't realize it at the time. Can any of you relate to that? And I love how the boy responds to the mole. I wonder if there is a school of unlearning. Another great idea, isn't it? A school of unlearning. I find I would often like to unlearn some of my behaviors and some of my beliefs that no longer serve me. Sometimes I just get stuck in those old beliefs or those old behaviors because they're so deeply ingrained that it's difficult not to fall back on them. Some of those beliefs might not even be mine, or perhaps they're ones that I adopted early on and at some point they served me, but they no longer do. Whatever the case may be, on our road to self-discovery, it's important to examine those beliefs and unlearn the ones that are no longer helpful. Perhaps we could sing that tune about loving ourselves just the way we are. It's not always easy to clearly see how beautiful and capable we are, and how nothing truly needs to be rearranged for us to be the best that we can be. We are children of the divine, created in the love, light, and glory of God. There's a conversation in the Gospel of John that Jesus had with a woman of Samaria at the well. And by the way, him talking to her at the well was a no-no in those times. Jesus was asking for water, which she gave him. Then she said to him, "Sir, I perceive that you're a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you say that in Jerusalem is the place where people ought to worship." And Jesus responded to her, "Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem will you worship the Father. The hour is coming and is now here when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father is seeking such people to worship him. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth." Now, put in today's language, John might have written that interaction this way: "It's neither in the mountain nor at Jerusalem, but within yourselves that you will discover the real realm, the actual spark of life, the pattern of your own divinity. Isn't it time that we discover that spark of divinity within our own selves? Isn't it time that we love ourselves just the way we are? And remember that we are beautiful, we are capable, and no one else can tell us we are anything less than beautiful. Lesson 193 of A Course in Miracles said, "All things are lessons God would have me learn." And it goes on to tell us, He would not leave an unforgiving thought without correction, nor one thorn or nail to hurt His Holy Son in any way. He would have all tears be wiped away, with none remaining yet unshed, and none but waiting their appointed time to fall. For God has willed that laughter should replace each one, that His Son be free again. So if the divine wills us laughter and no pain, I wonder why we so often forget to see our own magnificence and choose rather to live with our pain, to live with we're not good enough, or we're not capable enough, or smart enough, or whatever it is that brings you pain. Maybe it's finances. We're not rich enough. So often, I think we choose to live in the past, and we beat ourselves up over something that we did or that we perceive that someone else did to us. Of course, unjustly. I wonder what life would be like if we could learn to just live in this holy instant, learn to live in the now. What if we lived knowing that now, this moment, is all we have, and so we're going to make the best of it? How do we do that? Well, this conversation between the boy and the mole gives us one way. The mole begins, "I learned how to be in the present." "How?" asked the boy. "I find a quiet spot and shut my eyes and breathe." The boy says, "That's good. And then?" And the mole responds, "Then I focus." And of course the boy asks, "What do you focus on?" "Cake," said the mole. What great advice. Well, since we're not the mole, perhaps it's best if we focus on just listening to what the divine would have us hear, or focus on something that truly brings us joy. It's amazing what 5 minutes in a quiet spot with our eyes shut and just breathing can do to bring us back into focus and into the moment now. I find that to be an excellent way to self-discovery, discovering who I am and what is mine to be or do in that very moment. As for self-discovery being about our values, it seems that sometimes I'm actually surprised by what I find out about myself. You probably have already guessed that I'm very steeped in the philosophy of science of mind. And I remember having a practitioner session once in which I was saying how selfish I felt because I was making a life decision that I knew was great for me, and that I also knew someone else wasn't going to approve of. I was truly in agony over the decision, even though I knew it was the best thing for my own mental health. And I can still hear that practitioner asking me, "Do you really believe we're all one?" Well, of course I said yes. And then she said, "Great. Then, if it's good for you, it's good for everybody." What a life changer that was for me. What a realization of how to embrace those decisions in life which truly supported who I was. And what gratitude I've had for that wise piece of wisdom from her. And speaking of gratitude, one of my favorite pages in the book is about the boy's value that involved gratitude. Is your glass half empty or half full? Asked the mold. I think I'm grateful to have a glass, said the boy. I love that the boy so valued things in his life that he's able to just say he was happy to have a glass. I wonder how often we forget to just see things around us not as half empty or half full, just as they are. And as for the four friends journeying together, they become more clear about how much love they share and also who they are. We even have the boy realizing he's discovered why he's here. I realize why we're here, whispered the boy. For cake, asked the mole. To love, said the boy. And be loved, said the horse. What a beautiful self-discovery. We're here to love and to be loved. And to love and be loved requires us to open to seeing life from many perspectives. Have you ever tried to just be an observer of your life? Sometimes it's difficult to step back and just watch as your life is happening. And yet, the ability to observe who you are and who you're being, as well as what you're doing, has been quite an eye-opener for me, I know. So I invite you to try it. Sometimes I realize that my words say one thing and my actions are saying another, because I fail to make time for the things that I say I value. Maybe it's just me, and perhaps we could all use a dose of walking our talk. Ernest Holmes in Richer Living said this: the road to self-discovery often calls for the clearing away of the underbrush of ignorance, fear, superstition, and a sense of isolation which has made us feel that we are unworthy, unheld, and lost. In the divine providence of good, salvation is unnecessary, but self-discovery is essential. We do not save that which was lost. We merely discover that which needs to be found. For me, discovering that which needs to be found often requires me to pause, to do as the mole said, find a quiet spot and shut my eyes and breathe. Consider what might need to be found for you to discover your true self on this day. As the story progresses, the boy truly has discovered some of who he is. What's your best discovery? Asked the mole. That I'm enough as I am, said the boy. How fortunate we would each be if we embraced for our own self-discovery that we are enough as we are. So in summary, how might you discover, like the boy, who you really are and what it is that you value? Well, embrace your passions and your values. Notice how far you've come. Celebrate those small successes and learn from your mistakes. Ask your friends for help. Remember, a big waste of time is comparing yourself to others. Sit in the silence. Focus on something you love. Unlearn the things that don't serve you. Discover what it is that's your unique gift. And know that we are here to love and to be loved. Also, know you are enough just as you are. So here's your affirmation for the week. How is it I so easily and willing discover who I am? By embracing my passions and my values, asking my friends to help me along my journey, and remembering I bring to this world things no one else can. I would invite you to pause each day, sometime during the day, for 5 minutes and take the mole's advice. Live in the present. Find a quiet spot, close your eyes, breathe, and focus on something you love. Check in at night to see what you discovered about yourself that day. And did you remember to bring to the world things no one else but you can bring? Let's pray. So just settling into that space within us where we know the divine, where we know that Father that is loving and kind and peaceful and graceful, free, safe, perfection in all ways. And from that place within us that we know that divine, we also know ourselves to be that divine self. As one life, what I know is if it's good for me, it's good for everybody. And if I see within someone else something that I desire, it's right within me as well. So what I know this week is that we are each becoming an observer of our life, noticing how we can discover more about who we are and what it is that we have to offer the world that no one else can bring to it. I am so grateful that you have come here today and been a part of this message. I am grateful to know that the God without is the God within each of us. And it's from that gratitude that I release these words into the law of mind, spirit, and action. Into that yes that says it's already done. In this holy instant, it's already taken place. So knowing that I don't have to effort to do it, knowing it's done, I just say amen, and we can affirm it together. And so it is. So I want to tell you that this is the very first service that has been done entirely on my new computer, and I am just loving it. So thanks again for all of you that donated and helped us to pay for it. And I hope that these services and messages on the boy, the mole, the fox, and the horse are touching your heart, and that you will continue to support us. Enjoy our offertory song.